Hi again, neighbors, and welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live with the icon Mike Smith. I'm Dan Ramey. Good morning.
Good morning, Dan.
Unless you're watching this on demand later,
That's
then
true.
it's good whatever time it is that you're watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you do that universally? I mean, you can't, can you?
What was Jimmy Buffett? It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
It certainly is. All right, so here we are. It is Wednesday, midweek time already. Weather-wise, we are looking at, once again, some smoky circumstances today. It looked a little more hazy, I thought, this morning than it had.
I even thought I could smell the smoke a little bit this morning, where I hadn't been able to the last 2 days. Again, that's all wild fires that's taking place up in Canada, and it's kind of drifting down in here. But we're looking for sunny, mild temperatures today with a high of 75, even cooler tomorrow with a high of 72. We say sunshine, that is if you can see it through the smoke.
Is that moisture over there? It's like Indiana, Illinois, and parts of Kentucky are getting rain.
You know, we had a little rain in Frankfort overnight. I don't think it was a whole lot to speak of.
I wondered if you did, because when I heard the rain hitting the Ramey Ranch, I said to myself, oh my gosh, I hope Frankfort got something, because once again I would hear, Ramey got the rain, I didn't at my house.
God's favor is on Dan and not Mike. Yeah.
But I did check the rain gauge, and it was just a trickle.
Yeah.
Just a trickle of water.
Yeah. The grass is brown right now in many places in our home. So.
Yeah. All right, so coming up in just a bit, we'll take a look at what's making news for us today. One of those is an interview that you'll find not only here on Facebook, but also on our YouTube channel. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. There's no cost involved. You have to pay for your internet and your computer or your mobile device, but all that stuff, we're not making you pay for it.
That's not on litter.
That's right. So make sure you subscribe, and when you do click the subscribe button, there's a bell icon. Click that, and you'll receive notification when we upload something new. That way you won't miss anything. And that includes this program, which we'll make available for you later, and a lot of the special editions that we have. That includes today's Fairfield County special edition, but also the interview with Cole Miller and Kyle Polium yesterday, and the many others that we have on our library as well. So don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, as well as follow us here on Facebook and on Twitter. All right, coming up, we'll take a look at all that for you in just a moment. But first, these fine words about Scioto Valley dumpsters. You got a cleanup you need to do, or maybe you got a big project, you just need a dumpster to get rid of a bunch of stuff. Maybe it's the old material going in and you're putting the new. You got to make room for all that, right? You need a dumpster. 740-253-8389. This is part of the busy time of the year for them, so you might be able to get hold of Carl live, or you may get his voicemail. But either way, give him a call, 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters.
Hi, I'm Dave Pinkerton with Advanced Services Heating and Cooling, your local heating and cooling expert. If you want quality service, quality installation, give Advanced Services a call, 740-773-4499.
Budweiser beer, the king is second to none.
Who drinks Budweiser? You know the type. The people who grind. Those who don't back down. And the ones who don't quit. They say all people are 6 degrees of separation away from each other. But some are just a six-pack away. The people who share the same spirit, share the same beer. This Bud's for you.
So what's making news across the Scioto Valley? You can always take a look at littermedia.com, or you can listen to what Mike has for you now.
Well, as we talked a little bit at the top of the show, a special edition of Litter Media Live this morning was our Fairfield County edition. Second time since January that we've talked to Deb Connell of the Lancaster Festival. Deb had some updates on her upcoming concert that includes a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer.
Yeah, she very well deserved induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. she's been in music for a very long time. She's kind of crossed every genre. Her last album was put out in 19, I believe, and it was duos, and it's called The Threads, and it's a cross section of everybody from Chris Stapleton to everybody that's in music today. So very well deserved. I can't think of a genre that she hasn't hit at some point in her life. So we're very excited to have her.
When we're talking about ticket sales still being available for that show, with the arrangement that you have for seating, standing room only, what kind of crowds do you usually anticipate for some of the bigger concerts?
The bigger concerts, we do have a max capacity for those. It's not so much how many people we can get on the field. It's, the infrastructure that we have for those people, and just to make sure that everybody has a little bit of room, so that everyone's comfortable. And that's about 15,000. Typically on the Saturday nights, we get a little less than that. For instance, last year, the final concert, Billy Currington, we had about 13, which is still a large crowd. We expect the Sheryl Crow concert to be at that level. Right now, the Andy Grammer sales are going a little bit higher than what we typically see at this point for the first Saturday night concert. So he is selling very well too. And the funny thing that I find is if I talk to anybody who's like under 30, they are more excited about Andy Grammer.
Yeah.
So it's very much a generational split, but both concerts are going to be fantastic.
You can see my expression. I love Sheryl Crow. I have always enjoyed her music. And,
Does your wife know?
Yes.
Okay.
She she likes Sheryl Crow too, but the music, that is. We're not into her politics a lot of times, but she said on a couple of vacations when we were driving, she said, "Okay, can we try another disc?" But yeah, and I know a lot of people in this area. When we first announced that she was going to be one of the acts with Andy Grammer, I kept seeing a lot of the Facebook traffic, people saying they would tag somebody else. "Hey, did you see this? We got to go." So look for a big crowd up there. The Lancaster Festival, by the way, runs July 20th through the 29th. Pickaway County Park District Group Walk at Metzger Preserve is tonight, 5 to 6:30 p.m. A few months ago, we told you about these Wednesday walks that they were going to have at different locations. Well, again, it's Metzger Park tonight, 5 to 6:30. Participants are asked to meet at the sign entering the preserve.
Not this sign.
No. Ironically, the Pickaway Trail, which is not including the Metzger Preserve, it's closed from today through this Friday in the section of the trail between the wooded sections due to the use of the local farmers' irrigation system. Please do not use the trail while the farm equipment is in use. ODOT is proposing to rehabilitate the bridge on Dry Run Road at the 2-mile marker in Ross County. Now, the project is located in a rural area of Springfield Township between Lick Run and Graves Road. The project will not require new right-of-way, but the road will be closed for the duration of the project. The detour route will be determined at a later date. No homes or businesses will be removed by the project, and your written comments should be submitted by June the 30th. Ross Pickaway Highland Fayette County Solid Waste Management District conducts their tire and electronics recycling event for Ross County this Saturday. That'll be 8 a.m. until noon out at the Ross County Fairgrounds. If you go to our website, the search bar, and look for this story, you'll find it, because there's 2 more dates coming up for Highland and Fayette County later this year. The 5th annual food drive collection at St. Peter's Church is this Saturday from 10 a.m. until 2, located at 285 West Water Street. Drop-off will be located in the parking lot across from the church at 118 Church Street. Now, again, we're oftentimes promoting once a month the food drive where you can pick up food. This is to collect food for those future drives. Ross County Land Reutilization Corporation meeting is open to the public And the next one is this coming Monday, June the 12th. That is at 11 a.m. in the city building there here in Chillicothe. Moving on to the road report. Over in Fairfield County, a project including the slope repair by installing drill shafts, a wall there on State Route 37. That's along Rush Creek, just west of the Fairfield-Perry County line. Estimated project completion is this coming July. And those are our topics for today.
All righty. Just ahead, we'll take a look at sports for you. And this date in history, the Litter Media Wayback Machine goes to
1866. And for a second day in a row, we're focusing on our Native American heritage.
Indigenous folk.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's coming your way here in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about McDonald's. Today is their open interview day, 2 until 5 p.m. So we're giving you a heads up for those of you that are watching live right now, your opportunity to dress for success. But you don't really have to at McDonald's. Just walk in just as you are.
That's right.
Because they just want to see, we just want to see a body. Walk in and apply for work and become a member of the McDonald's crew. If you think you have what it takes to be a member of the McDonald's crew, they are looking for you. In Chillicothe, Circleville, Greenfield, and Waverly, stop in today and meet with the manager at McDonald's.
I'm loving it.
And our friends at Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. We talked about this yesterday with all this smoke and their concern about the air. Have you checked your filter in your furnace or your air conditioning unit, whichever the case may be? Take a look at that. Make sure that it's ready to go because with all this air, you're going to want filtered air as best you possibly can have. Click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com, and it will take you to Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing's website, where you will see more about the territories that they service. It's a big, vast territory here in Ohio, and find out how they can help you trust the comfort in your home through your trusted comfort advisor. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Sports next.
You asked, we delivered. New Mike's Hard Lemonade, Zero Sugar. Zero sugar. Amazing taste. Years in the making. Now that's a drink worthy of the name Mike.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
It is time to take a look at the world of sports, which is very dark right now. There it is. Not sure what the delay was there, but here we are. Mike Smith with sports.
The Chillicothe Paints, they were a little dark last night as far as the outcome. A loss.
Yes.
Lose to Johnstown. 8-6. Second game in a row that there's been a lot of runs scored. Only the Paints won the day before with a big scoring effort, but not last night.
They needed a couple more runs there. They go at it again tonight. Tonight is Winning Wednesday, where someone's going to win free gas.
But as you can see, even with a loss, the Paints, that was only their second loss of the season, so still on the positive side.
Yeah, so they won 5 in a row. I mean, they lost the opener, they lost last night, and the 5 in between, look out. So
let's get it back on the winning track tonight.
You always want to win more than you lose.
Yes,
right?
sir. Well, the Reds have made a habit of losing big leads and games, but not
look at this
last night. How about that comeback?
Matty McClutch is what the Reds called him. The infield was brought in, the outfield was brought in, and he just hit it.
Look what he gets
far
stuck
enough.
on his head, the bubble gun bucket.
He becomes King Double Bubble.
Yeah.
And so the crowd went wild, as they say. But they were down 8-3.
8-3. It was 3-3 after they were down 3-0, tied at 3-3, and then they got behind 8-3. But they come back to beat the Dodgers last night 9-8. And young man number 44 making his first Major League Baseball appearance.
Ely De La Cruz, he and Matt McClain played side by side at shortstop and third base down at Louisville. Well, now they're together at the show. And that's pretty cool to see how it ended last night for them. Let me also throw in, there was so much hype about Ely yesterday when the news got out that they said that, and there he is again, they said that that announcement had gone to 3 million views on their Twitter since like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that was up to game time. So 6 hours to get 3 million hits. And I wondered, what is it going to be like? Is this going to be one of these situations where he gets injured on the first play? What's going to happen? Is it going to hit a home run? Who knows? And the first play defensively, what happens? He's hugging third base. He bobbles it out of his gloves.
But he ends up getting a double. He's 1 for 3, walked twice.
Scored twice.
But you saw what the deal with him in Columbus last night was, didn't you?
Yeah, he was supposed to be there.
And everybody buys tickets to go see him in Columbus, and the Reds call him up in Cincinnati.
I did see that. Someone on our Facebook or Twitter, whichever it was, they said, well, this really sucks. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Because I bought tickets for the Clippers tonight because he was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to see Joey Votto.
Well, that's true.
He was on rehab assignment.
But they had a big crowd for Columbus last night expecting him, but he was a big star in Cincinnati last night. Back at it again with the Dodgers tonight.
And Columbus's big club suffered a loss.
Yes, Guardians lose to the Red Sox by a score of 5-4. Let's go to some high school news. Jennifer Blue, who spent last season as girls head coach at Logan Elm, announced last night that she is the new head coach of the girls basketball program at Leesburg Fairfield, leading the Lady Lions. Jennifer, of course, for many years was Westfall's head coach, and we wish her the best over in Leesburg. Here we go.
Southern Ohio Forest Rally is back.
Rev those engines up.
They are already in the forest right now. They are testing at a undisclosed location. But we can tell you that it's close by. That's as far as we can go with it. But tomorrow, they will really be close by, down in Yoctangi Park in the Annex, and an opportunity to see them make their way through the park, go over the big hump there, back by the student parking lot at Chillicothe High School. I have yet to see any of the kids try and do that with their cars. But
Probably shouldn't try to do that.
But if you want to get in position, that's going to be where you're going to want to watch. You're going to have their park expose in the student parking lot there, and then they'll go through the course in Yoctangi Park. And if you want to see them try to get air, it's going to take place right there at the parking lot. So you want to watch them come running up through the water sanitation area and then vroom, and land and go on.
For some of our friends down in Pike and Scioto County, they make their way towards you on Saturday, right?
Correct. Saturday and Friday, they'll be racing there as well. So a lot of this activity, you're going to see a lot of the cars out on the roadways. Don't be startled. It's just the Southern Ohio Forest Rally. They are back. Jeremiah Johnson is he's with them testing right now, but he told me earlier that he will try and stop in this afternoon. So watch for a special edition of Litter Media Live with Jeremiah to talk about where they'll be, what they're doing, and the whole deal coming up later this afternoon. This is a lot of fun. It's with heavy hearts this year because Ken Block, who was the top dog in this rally racing, of course, died in the snowmobile accident this winter. And they've had several rally events already. But still, it's like he's the guy that got the big air making his way across that hump. And what to say they won last year?
I think that is correct.
Jeremiah will have to clear that up for sure, but I want to say that Ken's team was the winning team last year.
But this is a a worldwide organization that makes a stop right here in Southern Ohio.
It's the American Rally Association, which is running the show, but drivers from all over the world will be here. Most of them from America, but many from Canada. They've got one fellow who came in from, I think it was Spain or Portugal.
Yeah. Didn't 2 years ago when we went down in the rain, they were talking about somebody, they came over, they had their car on a ship that had to.
I think that's the guy I'm referring to from either Spain or Portugal. So, but a lot of cool folks, and they bring a lot of money into our area. So good to have the Southern Ohio Forest Rally back. All right, coming up in just a moment, this date in history, as we will go back to 1866, back when Mike was just a kid.
Just a young boy.
We'll share details for you coming up in just a moment. But first, these words. For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
At Rathkamp Financial, we provide wealth management services that may ease clients' fears of financial loss and help them retire comfortably. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
All right, this date in history.
You know, a lot of times when you think of a city name, you wonder, well, where did that come from? Well, in Chillicothe, that's a Native American name.
Mm-hmm. City by the river.
Yes. But we're going to give you another city in our continental United States that has a name that came from a Native American. Although it was this date in 1866 that chief, Seattle, passed away. After American settlers founded the city named for him, Chief Seattle died in a nearby village of his people. Born sometime around 1790, Seattle was a chief of the Duwamish and Suquamish tribes who lived around the Pacific Coast Bay that is today called Puget Sound. He was the son of a Suquamish father and a Duwamish mother, a lineage that allowed him to gain influence in both tribes. But Chief Seattle passes away on this date in 1866, but again, what is now the big capital of Washington? Or is it the capital of Washington?
I believe Olympia.
Olympia?
Is the capital of Washington.
But it's probably the biggest city in Washington, Seattle, named for Chief Seattle.
Wonder if you ever thought there'd be Seahawks and Mariners that would take center stage.
Yeah.
It's the Supersonics.
Probably didn't think anything of that. Although, what was the game that was that a lot of the Native Americans played that we adopted years later?
Lacrosse.
Yes. Big sport that the. Wonder what their team could have been like if they had put that together.
I have to think that
Jim Thorpe didn't play that, did he?
Yeah.
Of all the sports that he played?
Jim Thorpe and Jim Brown was very good at lacrosse. Got to wonder, not every one of them was really good. I think about this when we look at season 3 of The Chosen, when it started off and Jesus is playing this like hacky sack game with some of the other guys and wasn't really good at it. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wait a second, wasn't Jesus supposed to be perfect at everything? But I kind of wonder if every tribe had a lacrosse team, somebody had to lose, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And would they play to see who would win that village or something? I don't know.
What was the old thing? General Patton, when he was going to go up against Rommel for the first time, he said, I just wish it could be he and I, one-on-one. And then the whole war is decided on that. That might not be a very good idea sometimes, depending on how physically fit you were.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think Patton was an Olympic athlete.
Was he?
In pistol shooting. This would have been many years before he was a World War II general. But yeah, I believe he was an Olympian in pistol shooting.
I didn't think about that during the scene in the movie where he's shooting at the plane with his
That
pistol.
is hilarious. How did you stage? This is right after the British commander said that they have air superiority, and then here comes these Messerschmitts and whatever else bombing them. So. Radio moment, you got one today?
Nothing that stands out for some reason. I don't know why.
Maybe we're running out of we're running out of memories.
We had 20 plus years in radio. I did see that Eric Brown is watching today. So
Professor
Brown. Eric was one of our one of our, how do we say this, support staff.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Be kind.
One of our support staff.
Eric's saying, thanks, guys. I can just see him saying that. He said that a lot when around.
He did say that. But I referred to him as Beck's Man because we wanted to put him into this like a leotard of some sort and have him running at Cavalier games as Beck's Man.
Yeah.
That never occurred.
I'm glad we didn't do that.
Would have made for some great memories, though.
Yeah. At one time, I think he was an instructor, wasn't he?
Yes. And in
that's
fact,
where I came up with professor, yeah.
Well, I happened to see a post last night that some of his students at Mount Vernon Nazarene University had won some award of some sort. So congratulations to Eric Brown and those kids who have done something that received awards for.
If I'm not mistaken, Eric is working on his doctorate degree.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've gotten it yet, so Eric, you need to text us to let us know. We'll start referring you with some Dr. Brown.
Well, just Doc Brown. First thing I think of was Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, coming up with something. But he was one of the many friends that we gained over the years working in radio.
Roads, we're going. We need no roads.
No roads there, yeah.
All right. We've worked with a lot of cool people.
Yes, we have.
And Eric is one of, well, I wouldn't say cool, but Eric is one of those unique individuals that we've had the opportunity to work with.
I think he had a connection with Dan Latham, wasn't it? And
Boy
Scouts, and that's how he came down here originally?
Chief Logan Council, I guess, and the whole deal.
Yeah.
And there are some who are no longer with us, like Rick Grimmett, Dick
Robinson.
Robinson, thank you. I forgot his last name for a second there. But just some individuals who left marks in our brains, left their marks of the good folks. And that includes Karen Raybould.
She's still Parker. With us, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. These people are still with us. But, it's almost like, hey, why don't you mention me? You know that.
Josh Cook had a birthday yesterday.
Josh Cook had a birthday.
Another one, yeah.
I have this picture that pops up every year from where I wished him happy birthday when he had this ladder he brought out in front of the, at the moment I said, here's Josh moving up the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of neat people. Mac, when I first came back to Chillicothe and started working at WBEX as opposed to downtown, Mac Porter was the most interesting engineer I think I'd ever worked with before. And then I learned that he had an actual show. And
I remember that.
He also, he was the voice of the EAS. Back then it wasn't EAS. It was...
it was the emergency broadcast. The EBS.
Yeah, right. Before they went to the EAS. But I remember Mal Roberts talking about the fact that, or was it Mick Roberts? Katie McRoberts. She portrayed Mrs. Claus.
That's right.
And he was like Clarabelle in the background, making these honking noises during the show. So I never got a chance to see any of that happen, but Ma was the first one I met when I walked in the studios there at WBEX.
She made some great chili, man, I'm telling you.
Which I never got to taste.
It was great.
But it was funny because May 4th of 1994 was when I walked into the building. And I remembered having a job interview with Dan Latham and Mike Smith We met at the, back then it was Frisch's, I believe.
In Circleville, right.
And now it's what, the Pizza
Cottage
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we had met there. The whole deal was we want to make this easy for you. Mm-hmm. So I was coming down from Columbus, so we met in Circleville. We had 2 meetings, if I'm not mistaken. That one and another one, I think, eventually at Mr. Latham's office.
I don't remember that one. I must not have been in on that one.
You were not in on that one. So
that's where he got the $100,000 offer.
Yeah, that didn't exist. But I remember walking through the door on that day, and as I walked through that door, Katie says, "Who are you?" I said, I'm Dan Ramey. And she says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I was told to show up to work, I believe."
Yeah,
because I didn't have an exact answer from Dan Latham.
I can't imagine.
He basically, I was like,
I can't imagine. It was probably like,
well, that meeting that you were not at, I basically said, "So should I give my 2 weeks notice?" And he says, "Well, if you want to." And I'm like, "Well,
this is so spot on to people that don't know.
Am I being hired or not?" He says, "Well, we needed you yesterday." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, so when do you want me to start?" "Well, whenever you're ready." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let me give my 2 weeks notice here." Okay, whatever, that's fine. So that day I walked in, and here's what I didn't know about Katie McRoberts. She would pull your leg.
Oh, yeah. Practical joke.
At the drop of a hat. And when I walked in, she goes, "Oh, okay. So I heard you were coming, so here's your paperwork. I need your driver's license." And it was so gruffish.
Uh-huh.
But she was the sweetest gal that you'd ever see. But she was messing with me on day one.
Yep.
Day one.
Yeah, she was a sweetie.
Miss her, sadly. But it was a great family atmosphere that we had there.
That's when we were up on Pullman Road, where the radio station probably was more years than anywhere else, although it had a couple of other locations.
Yeah, it had been downtown on 2nd Street, I think, and eventually they decided, let's build a building up where the transmitter's at.
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen years later? Well, let's move downtown. There's another let's go back location.
Yeah. So, which was much better for getting to the police and the sheriff's office.
It was that,
by foot.
Yeah. And I had worked at that building before.
That's correct.
So it was kind of neat because, and here I am with my dates again. February 1st of the year 2000 is when we first launched WBEX from the studios at 45 West Main Street.
Right.
And so when we started that day, the people who left the top of the hill included myself, Mac Porter, Dan Latham, and Kelly McNeil.
Yes.
So we came with a radio station that was put into there. Mm-hmm. So the week prior, we had been learning the new system, everything that was going to be put on. And I hadn't slept hardly any at all. So that night before, this is one of the first nights I spent away from home. Brian Wickline, who was living in the Chillicothe Paints office at the time, invited me. He said, "Here, go ahead and spend the night here. That way you can get up, go right over to the..." And I did. But I am listening to this guy tell us about this system, and I am literally checking out while he's explaining everything. And I remember him pausing, going, "Oh, I'm sorry, I checked out." And everybody else is looking at me. It was kind of funny. But it was that first day that we went on the air down there. And then, a year and a half later, WKKJ moved in.
It seemed like it was longer than that. We were up there a good while.
Because we were separated during the 9/11 situation that happened there. A difficult day in our American history. But yeah, we spent a good while apart. And I'll tell you, when 9/11 happened, it hit the fan.
Oh, yeah.
In many ways. And one of it was, by then, Kelly McNeil had left us. Mm-hmm. And now I am a single person working this radio station. And Bob Neal would help as much as he could. But when all this happened, it changed what we were doing. Because we were a full-service AM news-oriented radio station, which normally was staffed, but had one person.
Yeah.
And now these occurrences that have happened in Maryland, in New York City, all this happening at once, and we were trying to keep the information. So the $1 million room is where all the satellite receivers were held, and that was across the broadcast area. I had to run over to go switch a few things to figure out where, at that time, it was CBS Radio Network was sending us transmissions from New York for things we had never experienced in our broadcasting careers. We hadn't done anything like this since probably, World War II?
Oh, yeah. And certainly different technology at that time to get the word out.
Absolutely.
Everything was on phone line at that time.
And I recall Bob Neal kind of looking at me like, because he was running his radio show, and I'm like, sorry, I gotta, and I'm going through, I'm dialing up all these frequencies to find what we needed.
Yeah.
And then the next week was when the Glenn Beck program began. And so Glenn Beck, they were in works, I guess, to actually have him do a network show, but it was super rushed now. And next thing you know, it's launching. You know who his first co-host was? Mike McConnell.
Is that right? Well, I didn't know that.
They worked together for about a week, and basically what Gary Burbank had told me was, Mike says, this ain't going to work.
Yeah, I bet. I can imagine. Yeah.
So he's out, and Glenn went on his own after that. But, and gosh, that's been 22 years ago now.
Yeah, long time. Goes by fast.
It certainly does. About as long as it took me to tell that story. So this is part of the fact we never rehearse this stuff.
Yeah. When Dan was showing nodding all, I was getting nothing.
I pictured that. Yeah, so, all right, that's it for the program today. I may or may not be here tomorrow.
And it had nothing to do with that last bit.
No. We were discussing the potential of maybe taking a day off this week because there's just too much going on. But so if I'm here, I'll be here. But if not, you've got a special edition tomorrow morning.
Yes. Terry McCourt of the Chillicothe Veterans Affairs Medical Center will be joining us for a special edition at 10 o'clock, and he'll be talking about the upcoming Veterans Appreciation Day at the Paints on June the 16th.
There's a lot of cool things that happen. Have you ever been to one of their events?
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's more than just baseball, but then eventually a baseball game is played as well. So that's coming up Friday the 16th. So I'll be looking forward to that. And then Mike will have the regular program for you of this show tomorrow at about this same time. So until then, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. For the icon Mike Smith, wake up.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm here.
I'm Dan Ramey. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.